Called to order on Thursday, February 19th, 2026 at 7 o'clock p.m. We have a moment of silence to send our positive thoughts and prayers to those in our community that need our support. Okay, now please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can you get roll call, please?
Commissioner Bryson.
Here.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Here.
Commissioner Clausen.
Here.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Here.
Commissioner May.
Here.
Commissioner Berg. City Manager Reeves.
Here. I'll make a motion to excuse Commissioner Rory. She's out ill. Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Under 4, approval of the agenda, can I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved. Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, on to 5, public comment. This is time for public comment. Any member of the public may address the city commission on any topic. Please step to the podium, state your name for the record, and be heard. No commissioner, department head, or city staff will respond. The city manager will follow up on public comments as necessary. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes, and please direct all comments to me as the meeting chairperson. Please refrain from the use of profanity, and please do not direct any comments to any other members of the public. Do we have anybody who would like to speak? All right, seeing and hearing none, we'll move on then to approval of the minutes. I have approval of the city commission meeting minutes from February 5th, 2026.
So moved. Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're on to 7 for the consent agenda. We have the Marine City Area Fire Authority Run Report, the departmental monthly activity reports, the business license application for Vera Mays LLC, the Maritime Days fireworks permit, the RFP 2601 for for the CIP infrastructure, and then the RFP 26002 Information Technology Consulting and Management Services. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda items A through F as presented?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda, letters A through F.
Support.
Okay, can I roll call, please?
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner May.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien.
No.
Mayor Vandenbosch.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, and 8, items removed, there are none. Under 9A, under financial business, we have expenditures including payroll of $541,815.67. Can I have a motion to approve expenditures including that payroll in amount of $541,815.67?
Make a motion to approve expenditures, including payroll, for $541,815.67.
Support.
Okay, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hendrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner May.
Yes.
Commissioner O'Brien.
Yes.
Mayor Vandenbosch.
Yes.
Commissioner Bryson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Under the preliminary financial statements, can I have a motion to receive and file the preliminary financial statements for the period ending January 31st, 2026?
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, on to 10A, unfinished business. We have the city manager goal-setting background for February 2026. Can I have a motion to adopt the city manager goals as presented?
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, on to 10B, the board appointment for board of review. I make a motion to appoint Thomas Posey to the board of review for a term ending December 31st, 2028. Do I have support?
Support.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Under 11, under new business, we have economic development incentive discussion. City manager?
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight, I want to talk about ED, economic development. I didn't want to
Thank God.
lead you around the wrong path there. The other ED. I wanted to bring to your attention a broad range of tools that should be available to a community to put into place and to utilize to help us attract business development, or in a lot of cases, attract business redevelopment. We have very few large parcels per se that we're able to attract for development. I could probably name them on one hand. There's a couple that are occupied now, but you never know what might happen in the future. A lot of our work is probably in the redevelopment of parcels that sit vacant now or partially used, or maybe sold, used for another manner. One of the charges that you require of us is to develop business, to get people to come to the community. And I know there's been a strong push on our half to attract housing and those type of things, residents, to bring more residents to the town. With that in mind, I want to give you a 50,000-foot overview of developmental tools that are available for communities. Now, I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty at this meeting in terms of what tools and how they should be used and parameters, nor am I going to talk about how these tools may have been used in the past. The past is the past. I'm trying to push forward. We want to just give you an overview, and then over the course of the next few months, we're going to hone down and go over each one of these tools that we feel may help us going forward, and then talk to you about what you're comfortable with in terms of the parameters that you would want to set for these tools to be used. Now, Scott's going to give an overview. Dan Casey's here from the EDA, can certainly speak on it, and our attorney's well-versed in terms of a lot of these tools. We don't want to get too far in the weeds, but I want to start the process tonight to say, hey, look, over the next couple months, these are what's going to be on the table, and this is what we're going to talk to. We'll be providing you with a bunch of information going forward, and then we're going to come back and really put these into a column and say, okay, with this tool here, let's talk about it. How do you feel about it? This is how we see it used. This is how it's used in other communities. This is what we're looking for. What are the parameters you'd like your community to operate? Right now, we have to kind of erect this on our own. Now, we utilize, obviously, the services, the EDA. They do a great job for us, and we're going to depend on them even more as time comes. But in terms of bringing these tools to bear for our community, we're going to be responsible for that on our own. It's not something that, unfortunately, we're able to delegate to any other entities at this point. It's something that we'll have to see what fits us best and how we want to utilize it. So if we have a business development opportunity that comes up, we're not beholden to somebody else saying yes or no. That decision's made here at this board. And the other half of this is when we talk to people and we have these discussions, rather than them coming in throwing everything but the kitchen sink at us and say we want A to Z, it'll already be known this is what's available and these are the parameters. So if the parameters are here, don't ask out here because this is what's available. This is what we're willing to do. This is what we're not willing to do. And it really sets the tone for discussions. Long term, it'll help us save time in terms of talking to a number of these groups. And at times it tends to separate what I call the contenders from the pretenders. We talk to a lot of pretenders that are developers until it gets into the meat and potatoes, and then we find out they're not really contenders, and all they did was take up our time and the expertise of all these other organizations. You almost have to go through that to get to the good stuff, but I think when we have these tools in place and we have them that fit our community, we're all comfortable with them, that everybody understands them and how they're going to be utilized and what's the process that we're going to go through. There'll be a scoring mechanism. We'll lay it all out. It'll be easy for people to understand, and then going forward, we'll be able to employ those tools in attracting development or redevelopment to our community. So that's the crux of what we're trying to achieve. It'll be very high level tonight, and as the next couple of months coming, you'll get a couple nights of brownfield, you get a couple nights of every little thing, and then we'll drill down from there. Scott, ready to start?
Sure. Well, hello, everybody. It's good to be over here. So Mike and I have been working on this agenda item for a bit for the commission, and I'll try to go through and not take up all of your time because you've been moving so expediently through everything. I'm really starting to feel bad. I said here that didn't happen. Well, I might have been the issue. I'm not sure. But glad to be over here tonight. I want to first start and talk about some of the things that have taken place and are in the works right now. And some of these you're aware of. I know that Mike keeps you regularly updated on his reports and things. But there are a lot of things that are happening, and I think well said, Mr. Manager, about contenders and pretenders, or as I've said too, sometimes that you have a lot of people that love to talk but don't know how to do the walk, and that's part of this business, that we have to meet with folks and try to kind of feel through the weeds and see what really is legit or not. And some of the tools we're going to talk about will require some workshopping, some discussions, because it's not a one-size-fits-all project or process, and it can't be that way. Everything is uniquely different. Every community is uniquely different. So, but to talk about where we've been in the past year and a half, a lot of work that happens in the background. Sometimes it gets a little frustrating when we don't have things regularly in front of a planning commission, but we're really at the whim of the developers and the project coordinators to work through their process with engineers and consultants. We help tee up the project. We give a framework of what the ordinances allow, what can be done, but then it's really incumbent upon those developers and sometimes property owners to work through the weeds on that. And I know that our esteemed counselors involved in a lot of these discussions too, because some things just don't work when they're presented to us. So what has worked for us in the past year, we approved the 19 single-family homes to be developed along will be 7th and 8th Street. Those lots have been platted for years and years. They were non-conforming lots, so there was a little bit of work that had to be done through the zoning process. They were buildable at the time, excuse me, at the time they were platted, but we had a couple unique occurrences that had to take place with some setbacks. And really only 4 that affected the project, but we got through those hurdles. That's not something that had to come in front next to the planning commission because they fit within the ordinance now with the variances to be able to build on those lots. And we hope to see that starting this year with the first 6 homes. And that's a start. 19 new families coming to the city. And we think that that's going to spur some other development. And as the city manager had said, we're limited. We don't have a lot of open green space. But we do have a lot of redevelopment opportunity of some prior uses, and that's a little bit of discussion coming up. We approved last year the 180-unit apartment complex on South Parker. I spoke with the developer representative last week because we know that this has been a little struggle, and we all get worried when we approve a project and we're not really hearing a whole lot. But that project takes a uniqueness with some of the wetlands on the front that have to be mitigated and properly handled through the state. So the DEQ has been working with the developer, and the developer's been working with the DEQ and working with St. Clair County. Once we get the DEQ piece taken care of and we have a nice little letter, the county will have to sign off on some soil erosion pieces, and then they can really get into the heart of development. If everything goes as planned, they should have their submission to the DEQ early this spring, meaning end of March, about a month away, into early April. That's probably at best a 90 to 120 day process with the DEQ because they've had regular dialogue, so they should have been able to work through most of the sticking points. But you never know when it gets in front of a regulatory agency of who's going to be reviewing that has a different perspective to it. So we're poised and positioned to try to help answer any questions that the DEQ may ask of us locally, and we would involve Mr. Davis, who's been involved in some of these projects if we got into a real sticky wicket out there. But I expect that they'll be able to move forward. This is a developer who's done this a number of times, is doing projects in St. Clair City right now, and has had to deal with the same process. So if everything works out well, permitting in the spring to early summer, and they'll start clearing land summer to fall, and they're able to work year-round pretty much on this project. So that's encouraging because that's new single-family units, new couples units, starter units that we have a strategy that we've discussed collectively even before the transition with Mike coming on board, and I think we still have that. We want to be able to springboard people from a rental situation into an owner-occupied. So if we can get these folks to start here and be able to move from those apartments into their starter home, and now that we have some new construction, that really opens up the opportunities. You all know, we've got some great older homes in this city, some that are walk-in ready, some that need some TLC. So I like to tell everybody, we have something for everybody if you're looking for a place to start and then to springboard. We didn't have a lot of we have everything for somebody to start with as far as rentals. This will help open that up. We also have a possible mixed use at the end of Shortcut Road, where the parking lot pretty much ends at VG's. We've been working with that developer for the last year, and I think Mike had shared with you. We kind of turned him from an initial thought of just doing strictly storage, which was approved by the Planning Commission, to a mixed-use concept that will have some potential retail office with second-story residential. And that concept wasn't dismissed. I think the developer is mulling it around. It's more return on his investment if he's able to do that, and it fits in that area for what is likely to come in the future. And when I say that in the future, we have just learned that 143-acre parcel, which is off of King Road, has access also off of South Parker, not too far from Shortcut, is listed on the market. The owner had that as agricultural land for years, now has gotten up there in age, is not actively farming, has some leases, but looking to sell that property. That is a huge opportunity for the city for new residential development and a mix of residential. So we'll talk a little bit more as I get down toward the end of this of some things we have to do to pre-stage on that. But that has a lot of open potential. Also, we're in the process of continuing to work through and are in the end stages of being able to get a parcel donated to the city that will allow an extension of Shortcut Road back to this 143 acres or darn near to it, which could tie into a future King Road extension that has been talked about for probably 40 years. But now all of the stars are aligning, and we have pieces of property that were not on the market before, were not in a position to really have anything happen, that are now there. So, you know, the 143 acres is significant. The gaining of property to extend Shortcut and utilities is huge for us. An easement that Mr. Davis has worked on with an adjacent property to get us the 200 feet in between Shortcut now and Shortcut later. And then that opens up at least 3 large parcels that are landlocked back in that area. So people can do anything with those. It also opens up an opportunity for 2 properties that are in the township that are stuck in the middle of the city that have never had access. So, you know, we really could be looking at upwards of 200 acres of quality development that can take place, quality plan development. So we'll have to discuss how we get to that, but that's some exciting things. And then the little things are important for us. So we've been working and always work on trying to bring small businesses into town to help the small businesses that are here. We have a good relationship with the chamber. We have a relationship with the EDA. We have a relationship with the Small Business Administration. Michigan Municipal League and their foundation have given us some significant grants for small business and entrepreneurial assistance. And we'll have our wayfinding project as soon as we get the real spring. That'll be here sometime between May and July, I think. We'll get the new wayfinding signs up that'll help connect the 4 business pieces of the community: Water Street, Broadway, Fairbanks, King, DeGursey, Parker. And I say King, DeGursey, we kind of share that piece together. That's exciting because now we can link those pieces together. I mean, we have some of our own residents that don't know that we have certain businesses located in the city. So that'll be very helpful for us. The planning, zoning, economic development projects, they all tie together. We've seen the success of the new DG Market. That was kind of a growl from some people, and they said, we're going to get another dollar store. I don't know if you've all been able to go in there. It is a night and day difference between what people think of as a dollar store and a smaller market. And there were concerns, you know, well, this is going to really hurt VG's. They're complementary because people are still going to VG's, and maybe now more so when they can't find certain items. It's a small market. It's not a grocery store. So there's a difference. We continue to work with the developer that has the plaza. We've been trying to make connections, the matchmaking of here's some business possibilities that can go in. We're working with commercial brokers to try to make those connections. So hopefully we'll see some new tenant changes in that plaza this year. And then we have learned of, there were two parties, at least one that sounds like they're ready to move forward on the former Andy's Market across the street here and reposition that. We did have one project that came to us that was not a use that we were willing to even entertain. And as Mike kind of indicated, sometimes we have to be the clearinghouse for this too, and be very upfront and say, listen, your use is not allowed by zoning, and we really, can't get behind this because it's an incompatible use. You're welcome to go through the process. Sounds like the right thing to say, Mr. Attorney? You're welcome to go through the process, but in all likelihood, you have a hardship that you created or you don't meet all the little check boxes. It'd be very difficult. Can we focus you somewhere else? And so matchmaking is a big thing for us. We're going to need to address, though, the zoning ordinance and the zoning map. We put the new master plan in place last year. The next step is to address the changes in the master plan into the zoning map. Not a lot of map changes at all, relatively the same, but when you look now the opening of potentially 200 acres, we really need to have the discussion of what do we want this to be? Is this all single family? Is it R1? Is it single and multiple? Is it a mix of both? Do we have anything that can take place on King Road that has a commercial retail entry? So those are things that we'll have to kind of roll up our shirt sleeves on. We have to do some rewrites of portions of the zoning ordinance that are now out of compliance because of some statutory changes that have taken place. So Mr. Davis will help us on that. And then I'm looking and working with Mike to make an application to the MEDC. They have what's known as a technical assistance grant. We were able to get a $20,000 grant for the master plan. We're going to ask for $20,000 for the zoning ordinance, and we'll try to do as much as we can in-house. And I think we can tackle quite a bit. We have a standing working relationship and an agreement with the county for GIS mapping, and that is a big portion of this. And we have at our disposal as a member of SEMCOG all of their data resources. So I think that we'll be able to tackle a lot of that in-house and get our best bang for the bucks that we're going to ask for. So covering kind of the economic development things, there are things happening. We have at least 3 active projects between Fairbanks, Broadway, Water Street that will be either residential or mixed use, because in many of those cases, depending on the zoning, if they're in the central business district, they have to have commercial retail on the first floor, but they can have living above that. These will be nice infill projects on lots that are already platted and existing. They may require some variances because the lots changed on their setbacks over time, and we may need to get back to the traditional downtown in some areas that are not currently there, but those are relatively simple fixes. And then we have just about once or twice a month somebody calling and inquiring about a new business, and we're trying to, again, help get them positioned. A lot of times a wish and a dream, and we need to connect them with Small Business Administration or through the EDA. They have a great support system at the EDA to make those connections. A lot of people have dreams. They just don't know how to bring those dreams to reality. And then we have other people who have experience and they want to be here. We're trying to find the right place for them. So we have former Lucy's Doghouse. People have seen the work going on down there. That will have some retail, commercial, possibly restaurant on the first floor, living on the second floor. Our issue that we're going to have to address in the downtown, and I don't mean to swear at you, but I'm going to say it, parking. We have, and studies have shown, as those of you that have been here for a while, that we have ample parking, but people don't like to walk a block or 2 blocks. And we understand that, but I think we have to reinforce the fact that we do have ample parking for the retail and commercial activities going on. Where we struggle is for the residential side. If people are looking to live in some of the upper units downtown, if you're on Water Street and you back up and you have access behind the building, you usually have parking. Not every lot on Water Street has that double lot access. And those are the ones that we struggle with, that we have people that need a place to park. They live downtown. So we're going to have to look at how we address that. It is not an issue that's foreign to small towns, even big cities. Parking in those situations are difficult, but there are solutions. So we're going to try to look at that. So that's kind of the economic development side of things. Anybody have any questions so far? There is a lot that just takes time to happen, and we're in for the long haul on some of these. We'd like it to happen quicker sometimes, but we can't. So that kind of takes to the next piece, which is I'm going to throw a little steak out here, let it set and marinate, and we'll come back to it at some point in the future. incentive programs. So I handed you a two-pager from the state of Michigan. It came from the Tax Commission. And it really does a good job, I think, of bullet pointing a number of incentive programs that are allowed by state statute or somehow referenced in statute. Keep in mind that some of those programs are programs that we really don't have the control over of telling somebody, you can't apply for this. An industrial facilities tax, that's generally what's known as an IFT or an Act 198, which the city's issued in the past to help manufacturing and industrial. There's a statute that says you can apply for this. This is how this is granted. But it does allow local municipalities to establish some scoring criteria and a framework. And I think that's part of what we want to get to is we understand that people may by right under state statute be able to apply for some of these tax exemptions and incentives, whether it's the IFT or it's the commercial redevelopment or certain housing. There are a couple of statutes for housing, for affordable and attainable housing, that the city really doesn't have any say. We can't even set a parameter up. That's strictly done by the Michigan Department of Treasury. So we want to be able to go through, like I said, I'll throw the steak out there, we'll let it marinate for a little bit. We'll have hopefully some workshops where we can talk a little bit about those state statutory programs that we can put frameworks around. We really need to do that. And we do have one for the Act 198 for the industrial facilities. It needs a little brush up, but that way, if somebody comes in, we have a framework to share with them and say, okay, here's how you gain points. If you want number of years for an incentive, you need job creation, you need investment, we need verification. And I know I have discussed with you in my role as manager, and I think Mike's probably touched on it too, there are a lot of times that you just have to lay the ground rules out there. And there are some of these statutes that allow us to grant those abatements in smaller timeframes with the possibility of an extension. And that I like, and I'm sure we'll talk about that more. If you do what you say you're going to do, you may be able to earn a couple more years here at the end. But we need you to prove that you're going to do, because that's the talk, the walk, and the contenders, pretenders. We hear a lot when people come in. And Mike and I have been around the block. Bob, you've been around. We've all heard the stories. Dan, I know you've heard it. People will come in and promise you the moon and they can't deliver a star. So these are the things that we need to really be careful on. So I've listed those. I provided you that sheet. We'll have discussion. The ones that, again, are out there by statute that we can do some frameworks in, we really need to do that and put some criteria in place. May require some ordinance changes, tweaks, or even new ordinances. And then we have other programs that I listed on here. The two categories, the statutory exemption ones that I talked about, and then the statutorily allowed. And the ones that are allowed, doesn't mean we have to do every one of these either. We may or may not ever want to dive into another downtown development authority. We may or may not want to deal with an LDFA, a local development finance authority, or TIFs, or brownfields, or those things. So that's really the workshop piece, I think, that has to be had in the direction of the commission of what do you really want to look at for these other type of programs? Because we need to build that toolbox so when somebody does come in and they want to redevelop or develop, we can say, okay, here's what we have, and by the way, here's the ordinances, here's the guidelines, here are the rules of the land, so they know what to follow. Because we've seen in the past couple of months, we've had people come in and they've handed us literally a tax exemption form. That's our city form. They printed it up and said, here you go. I'm a tax exempt 501c3 and I'm not going to be paying property tax. And we said, well, hold on. Nice thought. Thanks for filling out the application. It looks good, but you don't qualify under the rules of the General Property Tax Act. So that's the other thing. No harm, no foul to ask, but we have to educate also. Some programs fit, some don't, and some have more stringent rules than others. So these are the things that I think are helpful for us to talk about, to put together what we want to have in the toolbox to hand out to folks. So the local guidelines, the transparency that everything can be online is going to be helpful as well, because that's how the world works today. These people are clicking just like they did on, here's your tax exemption form, I'm handing it to you. There's a part B to that, there's more to that. So we want to make sure we have all of that information out there. So a lot of thinking and moving forward, but I think a lot of opportunities. This is Marine City, and Marine City is going to put together the tools that work for Marine City. It's not St. Clair, it's not Algonac, it's not Yale, it's Marine City, and that's what it has to be. And, having people that are interested and are coming to us and having the dialogue is a good sign, because that's not happening everywhere. And I think it is encouraging, and we just have to direct, or sometimes redirect. But hopefully that gave you, a little bit of information, maybe a little more, but, I like to talk, and I think I'm done for now, so. You'll need extra meetings, that's what I'm telling you, I guess, so.
Just one thing I want to tell you. Obviously, Scott's been in multiple different communities, a couple in St. Clair County. These developers are very savvy in terms to what communities are prepared and knowledgeable about these type of tools and which ones aren't. If you're not prepared and knowledgeable, they will take advantage of you. I will tell you that. I've seen that happen. They'll come in and you'll be overwhelmed with the process. We always talk about having stuff that's shovel-ready so we can take advantage of something that comes up. We've got it geared up so we're right there, whatever it may be. This is part of that process, is to make sure that the tools are known and out there. There's no question about it. There's no, well, today it's over here for this one, but tomorrow it could be for, they're set. The parameters are set by the local people on the programs that you want and that you allow, but it gives us the opportunity, and it gives Dan and everybody we talk to, they come on board and they see it's already set. These are the scoring criteria. There's no question, and it really helps us do our job, or helps him steer companies or developments to certain communities that are ready for that type of progress, or ready to do that. We've also seen other communities, cities, townships, or whatever, that may fail at that opportunity, okay? And I will tell you, if we're not ready and another community is, the development will go to that community. It will happen. It's happened here before, and I don't want to place us in that advantage. I want it to give us the, if it works for us and it fits all the parameters and it's a good for our community, then we have the opportunity and it works. And if it's not, we'll know right off the bat, and they may want to go to another community. But we just won't get bypassed because we're not closed-minded in terms of having options available. Now, that doesn't have to say that you're giving away the store. I get that, I understand that. That's not what we're talking about. But in terms of reasonable programs that offer us the same advantage as these other communities, if you don't do things like that, you put yourself at a disadvantage. And very candidly, our quest is no different than I've told you from day one. We need bodies to move into these communities. That drives everything. Housing and housing starts and people moving the community drive business development, drive traffic counts. That's how you get businesses to relocate. We've got a number of different things going on. Green City is a hot item for businesses to relocate. Water Street is a magnet right now. Everybody wants to be down in that area. We're going to turn South Parker into that as well. DeGerse is filled up. There's some spots open. We're talking to people. With these type of tools, you help that process. So I just want to make sure we look at this with an open mind, and I'm aware of, we may have had some past observations of how it's been done in our community, other communities. Let's look at it with an open mind and approach it and say, okay, for today and going forward, how do we want to design our community and bring in businesses or development or redevelopment? Because this may be the tool that a couple of projects he talked about are waiting on, and why they're sitting dormant. That needs that extra push where that developer says, okay, there are some tools here that I can take advantage of, and we can come in and perhaps get some synergy and do something. So that's where we're at. It'll be low-key. We'll lay it out. Bob is going to talk about a lot of these programs and how they're structured and what's allowed, and Dan's going to come in. And we've thrown a lot of things at Dan here as of late in terms of things we want to do. Other developments, that I'm out working on and we're trying to get done. But it's all got to be done together. We can't get the other pieces done if we leave this piece
Yeah.
not addressed, is what I'm saying.
We also want the right project in the right place that's
Yes.
right for Marine City. And we're not afraid
To say
to
no.
tell somebody no and say, you know what, there is an industrial park, you know, in St. Clair, or there is another site, because not everything is going to fit. But if we can keep those jobs in the county, we still may retain the residents here too. And we're starting to buck the trend. You know, we've been predicted to continue to lose population. We're bucking that trend. We're going the other way. Maybe it's just 19 houses, maybe that's only
180
38 or 40
apartments.
people.
It's a
But
start.
it's going the right way. And that isn't happening in a lot of places around here, so that's a good thing for us.
Dan, would you offer anything else in terms of, do we miss anything or anything you'd want to offer?
Well, maybe a little bit about like the EDA's piece of this, like what do we do?
Would you
wanna
mind?
Go to the,
I'm done, they're done with me too. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks.
It's a good
thank
handout.
you, Scott.
So, thank you. First thing I would say is, you have a great team of people that are experienced already here. So that's really helpful, right? Scott in his city management role in the past, and Mike with his current role and his past roles, they know what they're doing, and so that's good. In terms of EDA, I say this a million times to people, they don't always understand what I mean, but the EDA's role is to be a facilitator. It's not our project. It's never our project. It's somebody else's project. Our job is to be in the middle and to assist both the community as well as the developer or the business with that opportunity. So you talk about incentives, for example. Well, we've implemented incentives all across the county for any kind of project you can imagine, right? That's our job. So our knowledge and our experience is what we bring to the table. And so when someone comes in and the first thing they say when they sit down in the meeting is, yeah, I want to ask about some incentives for this project. What's the project? Why are we starting with incentives? We don't even know if we want the project yet. So, you know, when they come in, that's a red flag. That's where the experience comes in, right? So they are able to, and we are able to evaluate what's in front of us and ask questions, and then go behind the scenes and do research on those developers to find out what their experience is and where have they done projects in the past. Have there been any problems? Have there been any lawsuits? Were they successful? That's part of our responsibility. And I think it all starts, and Scott said this, and he's very wise and he's right about this, but it starts with all of you and it starts with the community. What do you want? What don't you want? It really starts with that. So you have to have a clear vision. We talk about tools like earlier today we had a meeting, we were talking a little bit about brownfield. And it reminded me of St. Clair County's Brownfield Authority when they decided to apply for EPA grant to do assessment work on properties that might be potentially contaminated. And they were successful at getting a $1 million grant, and I sit on the Brownfield Authority. But in writing that application for that grant, they identified specific sites around the county that were good candidates to use those tools on, and that's why they got funded. They had a plan. So that's what I would say to you in the future is identify what you want and where you want it, and then we will go out to the development community and find the right people that are interested in investing in the community and bring the tools to the table if needed to make those projects happen. So I would just say that that's part of our role is to understand how these tools work and how they don't work. And when a developer comes in and they say, well, we would like a commercial tax abatement because we have to rehab this building and there's a huge cost gap. Okay. Do you know how to fill out the application? Well, no. That's where we come in. We help them fill out the application. And then we go to the city and we say, okay, this is what they're doing and this is the process. This is what you have to do. We can even help write the resolutions or work with the attorney on the resolutions. We have stock development agreements that we use, for example, for tax abatements. We've already done these in many, many different communities. We have all the documents already. So it's a matter of helping to educate the community and assist the community and the developer through that process until a decision is made. And we have no say-so what the decision is. Sometimes people think somehow we do, but we don't. Our job is just to facilitate. So hopefully that helps you understand what our role is.
Thanks. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you very much.
So unless you have any questions, I said we'd stay around 50,000 feet on this issue. I want you to know it's coming at you. I'll be talking to each of you as we move forward on this and trying to get a gauge and feel where you're thinking, your concerns, your thoughts. But the reality is we're trying to build that unified vision of what you want to see come to the community and how you want to achieve that. And then I want to make sure that the tools are in place, so when they come out, we're already ready, we're set to go, and it's easier for him to facilitate it, versus somebody coming and say, there's a piece of property, we're not ready at all, no tools are in place,
Yeah.
and we can't make it happen.
So Mike and Scott have been ahead of this, and they've already had me produce procedural memos on each tool that might be in the box. If we did this, what's the legal procedure to set that up? And those memos are already in place, and those will be working their way to you. They've been in place already. How do you set up how do you do this? How do you do that? But how do you go about this? So we've got that research already in place in the city, and so it's already ready for your look.
So do you put-
Downtown, he mentioned that with the living above and the business downstairs.
Yeah.
We had an ordinance at one time about no overnight parking downtown. And when I was on the planning commission years ago, and we talked about that, we were looking at people putting in parking lots, and when the time that they didn't use them, then they were open for the city. You know, they want to put a parking lot in and have 30 cars be able to park there, but you can't park there because I own it.
Well, we've had some discussions with
Yeah.
some business owners already in regard to that same type of idea and the
use of
ability to
parking
use
lots.
available parking. So that'll be all part of that process as we work through this. That's one of the things we've got to work on, is we've got to identify residential parking. A lot of people want to live in an active downtown area. They want to be associated with that. We're going to find a way to achieve that.
Well, I got one I drive by 6 o'clock every morning, and there's nobody in it, and it's a city parking lot.
Yeah,
Right behind them.
we had a similar issue in downtown Oxford, where we have a lot of older churches with large parking lots that don't use them except for primetime church, and so we reached agreements because we were short on parking. And those lots are now available for public parking at certain hours. And the signage is it worked out very well. But those are the things these two guys are looking at.
You know, when I was in the planning commission, we were talking about that.
Yeah.
And it was. just-
Parking's always an
If
issue.
you're gonna have rentals, you're gonna have other stuff, then provide parking somewhere else, or if you have enough parking, we had when the trucks were coming to the ferry, we had a big thing about putting a parking lot downtown
Yeah.
across the street from the ferry. And the thing was, when there's not in use, it could be open to the city. That was done at the planning commission level.
Excellent.
Do you plan on doing some of this through workshops or through these meetings?
I leave that to your discretion. Sometimes it's better at a workshop. We can
Yeah.
Yeah,
get
I
down to the
think so.
nitty-gritty. If the consensus is you'd rather have me schedule a couple workshops, I'd be happy to do that. I'm not gonna rush it down your throat, but
No.
there's a process. We've already started. As you can see, we've been working on this for a while, and now it's time to roll it out. And there's a reason why I need to roll it out now, in terms of long-term views and developments and things happening. So I'll be getting with you and polling you in terms of workshops or meetings.
Okay.
Yeah, when the time is right down the line, then we'll
Yes.
we'll move to the workshops. Okay.
Great.
Ready? All right, and moving on, we have down to administrative reports. We have the city attorney report.
I'm good. I've said enough. I'm trying not to compete with Scott.
Anything else from the city manager?
Scott said pretty much everything I wanted to say.
Yeah, you did.
You did see that we picked up an additional grant tonight. I don't know if the folks that had a chance to read that additional grant from the Community Foundation to assist us with the kayak launch. So
Yep.
I thank them
That's great.
publicly for that.
Okay, now to reports from department heads. And I believe we're going to have Katie, if I go with finance first?
So, with the goal to keep this short and short-winded, I did write it out, so I will do some reading, just to keep myself on pace, because sometimes when I start to talk about accounting and numbers, I go way off. So we don't want to do that. So, tonight, we're just going to take a few minutes to do an overview of what our department does. That's the treasurer's office, the finance department, the work we handle behind the scenes, and how we support the commission, city departments, and other residents. But first, I want to take a moment to introduce our small staff, but our staff. First, Paula Arsenault. Paula's the deputy treasurer for the city. Between the two of us, we're there full-time every day. Everything comes through our office and touches one of our hands. So Paula's dependable, she's detail-oriented, and always willing to do research and learn new processes as they arise, and I've been very grateful for her support. It's nice to know I worked probably 6 to 7 months with just me while we had somebody on maternity leave, and you don't realize how much of a blessing it is to have somebody available to let the ship continue to run when you're not there until you have that person. So I want to thank her for that. Second is Marielle McDonald. I'm sure she's a familiar face. She's been around a long time. Her official label with us is a part-time accounting assistant. It does not label her correctly. She is a jack of all trades, and does not even entail what she does for the city, but she's also our go-to historian for all departments. I think a lot of people can attest to this. If we're looking for information on what happened in the past 30 years, she can usually fill that gap. Say, find the yellow file cabinet, find the pink one, find the folder. Oh, this happened because of this. And it has been super helpful. I think Scott can attest to that when he was city manager. Mike has said it. Hey, where's this at? So just having her as a historian. She works not a ton of hours a month, maybe 15, 20. Yeah, 15, 20 hours a month. And she mainly does bank reconciliations. One of the gaps when I came here was that because we do have minimal staffing in the finance and treasurer's office, the checks and balances aren't always there. Sometimes you're the person that takes the cash, counts the cash, deposits the cash, puts the cash where it goes, and there isn't a lot of checks and balances. So, after talking to Curtis in a couple audits, he was excited to have this role because me and Paula do a lot of the everyday processing, posting of the transactions, and she's the check. She does the reconciliations and makes sure things are where they're supposed to be and where they're at. It was a role that was missing for many years, so we're grateful for that.
And the approval of the manual journal entries.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, it's all, yep, all the postings. So thank you for staying aboard. Especially when I started, she said, you have me for a year. And I'm almost 3 years in, so she's still with us. So to move on that, I just want to thank them both for everything they do. I know one of my, a quote I love is from Harry Truman. He said, it's amazing what you can accomplish when you do not care who gets the credit. And all three of us work that way. And it has been proven in what we've done in 3 years, turning the department around. So, all right, let's go with what we do. This is a very big overview as well. When I threw at them that I'm going to be talking about what our department does, I said it would take days and hours to get down to the nitty-gritty, and I didn't want to do that because I don't want to bore anybody. But so the treasurer's office plays a critical role in making sure the city remains financially stable, compliant with state and federal requirements, and can provide essential services. While much of the work we do is behind the scenes, it's not exciting. I've said that before. It impacts nearly every area of city operation, every single day. Every purchase, project, payroll item, revenue source, et cetera, flows through our office at some point. At a high level, our department is responsible for managing, protecting public funds, ensuring accurate reporting, and supporting responsible budgeting and decision-making. Some of our key responsibilities include billing and collecting summer and winter property taxes. People see their bill come in, they pay it, but there's a lot that happens before that bill goes out, and there's a lot that happens after it. It's also the city's main source of revenue for the general fund. And then we also have to pass funds on to the school district, the county, the state of Michigan. So we're responsible for collecting their funds too and making sure they get them. We process payroll and accounts payable. We ensure city employees, retirees, and vendors are paid accurately on time. We track revenues and expenditures across all funds and departments, including grant tracking, expenses done by the library and M29 so we can bill the county and state appropriately. We prepare financial reports and maintain accurate records for transparency and accountability. It doesn't seem like we have, a huge budget or, a ton of funds, but we have 11 bank accounts that we have to manage on a monthly basis, and 9 other accounts, including savings accounts, investment accounts, that we're monitoring. So we have over 20 accounts that we're monitoring every month. The annual budget process is a big part of our department. We work on that January through May. I love when you guys get the book, the book with all the requests in it and what it is, but it takes months of time to prepare for that. A lot of research, a lot of talking between our department, city manager, other departments to make sure we're getting that budget out right. We maintain compliance with state and auditing requirements. Same sort of thing. We get a nice presentation here on the audit, but we work for months at that. We provide them documentation, piles of paperwork, files, and a lot of that is easy when you have all that throughout the year being filed and done correctly. So it's been pretty good. It wasn't difficult to do. The other things we do, we handle HR administrative responsibilities, including employee paperwork, onboarding and separation documentation, personnel file maintenance, and compliance-related records. Also, all benefits insurance coordination for employees and retirees. We're that person. I don't have an HR degree or worked in HR a lot. I do have a management, aspect to my degree, so I'm familiar with some of this, but it's been a learning process too, learning to deal with retirees and employees and all the paperwork we do. I think Paula was even shocked how much we deal with that sort of stuff when she started working here. Retiree healthcare and pension board liaisons, Paula creates the packets and does the minutes, and we're everything in between with that as well. We provide customer service not only to our residents, but all city employees. I constantly have people in my office going, what account number do we use? Where do we pay for this from? Where should I charge it from? Paula's looking up invoices. How much do we pay this person? So customer service to not only residents, city employees, businesses, and property owners who rely on our office for assistance and accurate information. That's just a real big overview. But to wrap up, just 2025, we did have some accomplishments I want to talk about. In February, we rolled out BSNA Cloud. That was approved by the commission to purchase at the end of '24. It doesn't affect all departments like it affects ours, but it has been a game changer with processes, electronic processes, approvals, and streamlining things and having accessibility instead of looking for things in a box. I spent the first year here really looking through boxes for things. Now we can go into a system, and if we paid a bill, we can pull it up, and there it is on the screen. It's magnificent. So some of the noted up from the upgrade, personal action forms, we now do those electronic for input and approval. The daily cash drawer and reconciliation and deposits and the monthly bank reconciliations are now done electronically on the system. No more spreadsheets with manual tracking. Imagine having 20 accounts and keeping a reconciliation handwritten for every one of those. We used to do that with Excel. And you miss one transaction and you look for days. for that one transaction. Now, it's much easier, streamlined, and we can usually have them done within 15 to 20 days of the end of the month. Check requests from all departments, they are done electronically, and they can be approved by the department head electronically, including from all modules. So if there's refunds from the building department, from utility billing, from business licensing, it all is intermingled and there's no more paper. They literally request us to pay somebody electronically, which is really nice. Budget input streamlined this year. We're at the point where departments can input what their request for the budget on their own without sending me a spreadsheet. I'm excited about it. Because, anytime you have to manually input numbers, that we're human, error, right? So things can get missed. And then a lot of processes, we have been able to create report profiles. So, if Paula does the cash drawer every day, reports that are printed, if she's gone, it's already set up. I don't have to look for what reports there are. It literally says daily cash receipts, and you go in and there they are. So we've been able to share processes, profiles, which has been very helpful too. We had some law changes in 2025 that have impacted our job quite a bit. As far as processing and tracking. In February, we had the Earned Sick Time Act. You've seen some personnel policies and procedures that we had to change for that. We had to change some tracking in our HR system. There are payouts for part-timers, so we had to work through all that. We got that resolved. And then in November 2025, Public Act 24, can't everybody, you've heard people say, oh, I don't have to pay taxes on overtime. Well, you do on some of it, but that created a gap in our system, our processing, and we had a short 2-month window before W-2s had to go out to figure out how are we going to track qualified and non-qualified overtime. So we had to come up with a process for that. Another reason to have a great second person is I do payroll, she double checks it, and we have been able to create a system where we're not missing those sort of things now, and it was very easy to get W-2s out, so we're thankful for that. Okay, I'm almost done. We created a federal funds policy. It was improved and implemented. It was much needed for how the city handles federal funds. There was minimal guidance before, and now we know. There's a book on it. We worked in conjunction with other departments to right-size the water, sewer, ready-to-serve funds. I had to send many reports and budgets and numbers to MRWA in order for them to have the correct financial information to make a great recommendation on the rates. So that was a big part of our job last year. We increased interest income where possible by using Michigan Class last year. It's been a success for earning more interest on our liquid funds, and we created a laddering method for the general fund savings, which has to come through here too. So that helps minimize interest rate risk as well. And we had a clean 2024 audit. So we're one of the only departments that are lucky enough that it's a state law that we have to be checked on our processes. And we are, and we did well, so. Last but not least, just say we're like other communities. Even the correct processes in place, we face ongoing challenges such as increasing costs, not enough revenues, evolving state reporting requirements, and the need to maintain monitored systems that improve accuracy and efficiency because we're just never enough bodies. But even with these challenges, our goal remains the same, to operate with integrity, transparency, and a strong commitment to customer service. At the end of the day, our office is here to protect public funds, ensure accurate reporting, and support the commission in making informed decisions for the future. And that is it in a nutshell. Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Yes.
you think about all of that, and there's a couple things I want to pick at. One is that historical line. I don't know how else to put it, but to understand what happened 15, 20, or 25 years ago, and to get direction on where I may find information on it, or how this happened, or why it happened, and what they did, when we can't find any physical evidence of it, is really, really helpful. And I wish I had that in some other areas, because it would answer some questions for us. So that's a godsend in itself. I thank you for that every day. Paula, I'll tell you, she brings her CPA attentiveness to everything. You never know she's here because her head just comes above the screen and it goes back down. But it's constant. It's just, it's like the lights go on, Paula's there, the lights go off, Paula's still there, time to go home. So I thank you for all your work. And Katie, if you listen closely, you've heard a lot of changes over a relatively short period of time. And for you folks that have been here a while, you can look back and know where you were and where you're at. And I will just point to this, the audits tell the story, okay? And every year, the audit has gotten better and better. And Curtis even kids us, I have to find something to ding you on. You're paying the bill. This really doesn't count, but here's the ding because everybody gets one of these. So it's like the kid that can't get the 100%. I can only give you 98%. And that's really the changes that have made. The other thing is, I think a lot of times people misunderstand and they equate small city, you don't have the issues that a larger city does. Well, in some cases that's true, but we have to replicate each one of the things that a large city does. The same rules apply to us, whether it be DPW or police or accounting or any of those things. We just have less resources to do it, so fewer people have to wear more hats in order to accomplish. And I just want to give, again, another thank you to Katie, her staff, city staff, that carries out these type of activities quietly in the background, and you know, every day it's consistent, and you come back in and it just another day consistency, and that's what we're trying to do, is be consistent in that approach, and you can be comfortable in knowing that attention to detail is being paid to. So thank you for your department's work and your work. I appreciate it.
I hope it wasn't too long.
No, it's great.
I tried to shorten it. It's really hard.
I wanted to say, the game changer on all this is the electronic.
Well,
I mean, I cannot get over.
We made a
tax.
decision to make a big investment,
Yes.
and I think it's paid
not
off.
all departments, use it as much as we do, but it has been
It
a
has
game
been
changer
a
for
big
us.
thing. And I mean, even though I did it all by hand when I first started here, and now I'm doing it this way, I'm very proactive in change. And I always wanted to try and find the easiest way, the most accurate way, and precise way to do it. And Katie's been very helpful in moving this forward. And so I would like to commend her for doing that advancement, because you have to in that job. I did it over the years, but more things come up every year, and so you're doing a great job. So are you, Paula.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right. You're good.
Fresh, out of words to say.
All right. You heard that. Scott Atkins is out of words to say. Okay. All right, and we're all set. City Clerk, do you have anything?
Just one quick thing, Madam Mayor. I want to announce that our 4th Community Shred Day is scheduled for Saturday, April 18th, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. here at City Hall. And we will be collecting items for some craft materials to help Maritime Days. Since they shifted their date to June, they're going to be doing some crafts for Father's Day and that. So we'll be collecting things for that. You'll see flyers go up soon and Facebook posts and everything else.
Okay. Great. City Manager, do you have anything else?
I do not, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. All right, on to Commissioner Privilege and Liaison Reports. We'll start with Commissioner Clausen.
Nothing new on the planning commission level, but I do appreciate that we're working on the zoning ordinances. Thank you. And I like I know we're doing a good job with our DPW and stuff, and I give them a heads up. We are started on North Mary Street. Believe me, I live on that street, and It's gonna get done like the rest of them. It just takes time and bear with it, you know? If they're over there dumping cold patch in a hole, don't run them over, stop and let them do the job. That's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Bryson?
Nothing tonight.
Commissioner O'Brien?
I want to thank all of you for the presentations tonight. Scott and Mike, we've had a lot of conversations about development in the city. Mr. Casey, thanks for coming and joining us in this. Obviously, we all know that there are corners of the public that are really nervous when we start talking about development here, what it means, and a perceived threat to Marine City. I'm so touched with the folks of you that I've spoken with and the direction this is all heading in, that it is about building up Marine City to what it once was. Our population's lagging about 500 people behind where we were before, which that puts a burden on all of us when it comes to taxes, funding the city, water, infrastructure, all of this, that we all need to be pitching in to keep us going. And that burden will alleviate in all of us when we bring our population back up. We can't bring the population back up without a little bit more development. So this is about preserving the community and keeping it continuing on for our next generations. I'm very excited about this conversation. For those of you in the public who are very concerned about this, please come into these meetings, these workshops. Let us hear your concerns and talk about it. We did this process with the master plan. It was incredibly useful. And the public comments that came up and the community members that helped out in this. So I look forward to all of this. Thank you guys very much for this.
Commissioner May?
But thank you again for that presentation. I think anybody that tunes in and listens, maybe they'll get a little better understanding and bring their patients in when they come in to deal with you guys. So thank you very much for that. February 7th, I attended the Marine City Firemen's Ball. The firefighters do an excellent job. If none of you have ever attended the Firemen's Ball, it really is a nice evening, and more importantly, it's a great fundraiser for the guys and girls down there to be able to get stuff for the stations and whatnot. So I would encourage next year, if you haven't went, mark it on your calendars. It's always the first Saturday, and again, they put in all the work themselves. The firefighters do. So other than that, that's all I got.
I'll keep it short. I just want to thank the city manager and the DPW. Now I'm back out from my walks more. Now we don't have so much ice out there. But there was one night, went down one street and I saw the water gushing out of somebody's driveway. So I called Mike and the guys came out. I give them so much credit. This right after they just got home. And they get out there and they get the job done. I think they were out to about 9 o'clock that night. But I just got to thank them all for the hard work, because it's going to get worse with all the additional construction now starting. And I know they were in my neighborhood again, and I'll tell you, I just thank them all for, they have to deal with a lot, and people need to have patience with those guys. Don't yell and scream at them. They're doing their best to try to get this job done. And they have to deal with a lot, an awful lot. So please be patient with them. They do the best they can, and they really do a good job. And if you see something out there, turn it in. If you don't want to call the city, let me know. I'll turn it in. If we have a lot of this where people post online, but they don't let the person know, you can call our police department. They'll call somebody to get it out there. But don't, it's really hard when I see this stuff out there and the complaints, and I ask, did you call? And, well, that's not my job. Well, it is all of our jobs to see things in our community, whether I'm on here or not. If I see something out there, I'm going to call. I'm going to turn it in, and it helps everybody in the community. So we all need to work together with this project. It's going to be another long one this summer, so just keep your patience, please, and call things in. If you need something in this area, or something, you see something that's not right, or you're having an issue, just call it in. Just call it in. Mike is so good about getting the guys out, and they'll come out and take care of it. So that's it for tonight.
All right, thank you. Just a couple quick things. Thank you, Katie, for the presentation, and thank you for the work you do. And Mary Ellen, thank you. And Paula, thank you very much. And thank you, Scott, for the economic development presentation. I think there's a lot of important information tonight, even though it was just a quick overview of development, redevelopment, the different strategies and the work with the city manager. And thank you, Dan, for coming tonight and speaking on the EDA piece. Really appreciate that. Okay. All right, and with that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.